Indeed, we welcome you to this wonderful edition of the Don Bosco Vibes radio show, where we will be discussing wonderful and, of course, interesting topics that we do discuss as the Don Bosco team of here as the Don Bosco Youth Network. To be your presenter on the program today, my name is Mulanga Nyirenda, and on this edition, we will be looking at the topic of closing the care gap in this issue of cancer that we do have. On the 4th of February, we commemorated World Cancer Awareness Day, which was under the theme, Close the Care Gap. To be your host today, my name is Mulanga Nyirenda. We will discuss everything from what cancer is, cancer prevention, and of course, how we as members of the community can help in fighting this disease, and of course, helping survivors of cancer.
Essentially, cancer is simply an abnormal growth of cells. So cells are expected to have a certain architecture or a certain configuration. When that departs from what is normal, basically that's what constitutes cancer. So we have a situation where a cell begins to behave differently from what it's supposed to be in terms of shape, size, and other features that are consistent with a normal cell.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Doc. Now, Ida, coming from the Zambian Cancer Society, and of course, we commemorated World Cancer Day on the 4th of February. I'd love you to share with us what World Cancer Day is, and of course, the theme of World Cancer Day, which was Close the Care Gap. How is this theme significant in this fight?
This World Cancer Day was initially an idea of the Union for International Cancer Control. Union for International Cancer Control, shortened as UICC, is a mother body for all cancer organization in the world. Mm-hmm. And the day was put together really to re-emphasize the importance of awareness, the importance of prevention, treatment, to advocate for better treatment, because to be honest, World Cancer Day should not just be on 4th February, but on this day is just a day to reinforce the message that we talk about every day. So it's a very significant day as we also try by all means to support cancer patients and their families, especially those in need. So basically that's what World Cancer Day is all about. And the theme for this year and the coming year, we are commemorating under this theme for 3 years, Close the Cancer Care Gap. The reason this theme came about was to make sure we don't leave any space in the cancer circle. So this is a circle from prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and life after cancer or palliative. So, for example, when someone has been diagnosed, how is the information passed on from the medical providers to the cancer patients? If the cancer patient doesn't understand what type of cancer they have and their treatment options, it will not be fair for them, because they've got a right to know of the type of cancer they have or the treatment options that they can undergo. So if there's a gap in between how information is passed from providers to the patients, meaning the care gap would have been left hanging, and it might not be a good circle for the patient, because they don't know some of the things they need to do. They don't know some of the food they need to eat. And also closing the care gap, I'll talk about treatment, because you see, treatment is not only about conventional medicine. It's a whole ball game together. It's a package. We talk about wellness, we talk about spiritual health, we talk about stress management and all that. So all these things put together, lifestyle, physical activities, what you need to eat as a cancer patient, it all comes in together, and that's what it means when we say closing the care gap. So it's about addressing all these things and making sure that all the information is covered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And Doc, what are the most prevalent types of cancer that we have?
Speaking of the Zambian perspective, I think some of the most important cancers are cancer of the cervix, Kaposi's sarcoma, cancer of the prostate, breast cancer, cancer of the gullet, esophageal cancer, cancer of the stomach, cancer of the colon, the liver, and so on. In terms of the ones that trouble us the most, I think that I'll speak about perhaps two in the females. Cancer of the cervix is a very common cancer. Likewise, cancer of the breast. For the male folk, cancer of the prostate, I think, is the public domain. Many of our colleagues are battling with that. And cancer of the gullet or cancer of the esophagus is another also. Cancer of the prostate, like cervical cancer and cancer of the ovary, too, does provide us with the opportunity to screen and find that those warning signs that will give us the impression that this prostate is likely to become ravaged by prostate cancer, and therefore we detect it and prevent its onset.
There are common misconceptions about cancer.
One of the misconceptions is that members of the public, they just believe that cancer is always fatal.
People think cancer is contagious. You know, it's like a flu, it's like COVID.
And that is not the case. Another misconception is that a lot of people, they only believe that cancer is only for the old people. Cancer can occur to any person. Even someone who is 5 years old can develop cancer. Another misconception from the members of the society, they say that no, for you to know that you have cancer, your hair needs to be coming out. So as long as your hair is not coming out on its own, people think that no, I'm just fine. But the best way for you to know that you are suffering from cancer is to go to the hospital, as I earlier indicated. And another thing, you know, we are living in Zambia and we have got all our traditions. So sometimes we may find that maybe a person has been diagnosed with cancer. Some people may even start attributing it to witchcraft. Cancer is formed in a number of ways. There are genetic factors, there are environmental factors, there are also just natural factors. So just because an individual is suffering from cancer does not mean that it is a product of witchcraft, but it may be as a result of many other underlying factors.
So you see, at Zambian Cancer Society, sometimes we would have people coming to us with all the telltale signs and symptoms on their body, and they just tell it, say, no, I cannot have breast cancer, me, I pray, you see. And someone will just tell you to say, no, I cannot have cancer because cancer is for the rich. Because because cancer is one of the most expensive diseases that we have to treat, so to say. So, and also some people will just refrain from admitting that it could be cancer because cancer is new to us. It's still new to the African continent, Zambia in particular, because there are thousands and thousands of cancers. So even just the medical experts to explain all the types of cancers that we have in the world is not an easy thing, but we all learn as we go and grow.
In fact, what these misconceptions have brought out is the gap that is there between what we know as medical scientists and what society knows. And therefore, this is an opportunity now for, say, NGOs or advocacy groups to pick up and try and somehow give correct information to the public, because there's so much that is negative that is known about cancers. And this brings me now to the consequences of this thing. Now people begin to seek help from our other colleagues, the informal medical practitioners, who give herbs. These herbs end up damaging the liver, they end up damaging the kidneys, both of which organs are very important in the clearance of anti-cancer drugs that we give. So this misinformation is making people not seek help, and yet help is available. Further to this, even those that have been diagnosed as having cancer that is not treatable, let's take for granted, they must exit in a very dignified manner. So we have a branch of cancer treatment which is called palliative care, which can minimize the pain and anguish associated with the cancer that one is suffering from. And at the end of the day, the ones that are afflicted by this cancer that is not treatable can exit in a peaceful and dignified manner.
As the Zambia Cancer Society, some of the initiatives that have been put in place to help fight cancer, and of course how you're working with members of the community to fight this disease.
As Zambian Cancer Society, of course, our mission is to support cancer patients irrespective of age, gender, and type of cancer. And one of the things that we do really is raising awareness, closing the care gap. Yeah. So we've got a number of activities. So I'll just mention 2 or 3 here. One of the activities that we have when it comes to raising awareness is our Dukutoba campaign.
Yes.
Under our Dukutoba, we have one of our programs, which is the Duku Challenge. I'm sure some of you have seen or have heard the Duku Challenge
And
going around.
participated.
This is the brain.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, so the Duku Challenge really is an initiative that has been brought by the Zambian Cancer Society. One, to stand in solidarity with the many cancer patients that have lost their hair due to chemotherapy. When a woman loses their hair, many loses their self-esteem. They just lose themselves. So we are there to give a word of encouragement to help them remember that your hair does not define you. You can still rock your duku, go your way, go and sell at the market, go take your children to school and all that. And also, this same initiative has helped us to raise funds to support the most disadvantaged cancer patient, to purchase drugs for them, to pay for local medical lab tests. And one program that we have, as you may all know, we have one cancer disease hospital in Zambia, which is right here in Lusaka. But Lusaka is not Zambia. We have patients coming from Sesheke, Katete, and all these different areas. And when they come for treatment here, for example, if the treatment they are doing is chemotherapy is administered mostly, maybe you say, a cycle after 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So when you get that first cycle, you'll be asked to go home and come back after 2 weeks because the hospital gets overwhelmed and many people don't have transport money to be moving back and forth. So we also have what we call the Hope Transport, where we help provide transport to those that need transport money, of course, to go back and forth for their treatment. These are some of the things that the Zambian Cancer Society does. And when it comes to information, we are very good with content creation. So we have done audio guides, breast cancer audio guides in English, and we have managed to translate them in all the 7 main local languages. So to allow different people to get information, not to be biased with information. Yes. Yeah. And also we have radio dramas that run on radio stations, just to break the silence on cancer. So really, those are some of the things that we are doing. And before I give you the microphone back, I would want to recommend the work that Don Bosco Vibes radio show is doing, because this is my second time being here. And, you know, it's platforms like these ones that the general public gets to hear on what cancer is. And for me, as a young cancer advocate, I've been an advocate. This is my 14th year now. And it's not about the masses that hear the information and go and sit down with it. It's about that one person who takes action to go for screening. It's about that one person who takes action and never refuses to stop their treatment and continue and follow what the doctors ask them to do. So thumbs up to the Don Bosco Vibes radio show for the good job that you are doing.
Thanks
so
much.
you are playing a role in closing the care gap, just as Zambian Cancer Society is doing.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Your words to every individual out there, be it one who is fighting cancer, be it that person who's afraid to go for screening, and maybe someone out there in the community who doesn't know what role they can play in fighting this vice of cancer.
I just have 2 recommendations to the members of the public. Now, one thing they should know is that cancer is not the same. So just because Judith has been found with breast cancer and she has been found with a breast cancer, does not mean that maybe the treatment can be the same. So in the same way that Judith went to the hospital, you also as an individual go to the hospital and get the information from the hospital. Another thing, when it comes to problem solving in the society, we know that there are a lot of problems in the society, right? So what I want to say is that the problems that come traditionally, you should solve them using traditional means. Things that coming in the spiritual things, solve them spiritually. Things that come physically or scientifically, solve them using scientific means. So when you have been found with cancer, go to the appropriate facilities, such as the medical facilities, the cancer hospitals. When they give maybe treatment, you can start praying whilst you are there on the bed, taking your treatment.
Working
I
hand in
submit.
hand. Thank you so much, Raphael. Judith.
Okay, for me, it will be Don Bosco Court. The Don Bosco Court is be neither too confiding nor too distrustful of others. So what am I saying? You can confide in medical practitioners when it comes to cancer. Okay, these are the rightful people to go take a further step and take a leap other than just sitting. Go and do the screening, because it is only when they say knowledge is power. So let's take screening, and let us encourage family caregivers to also even just love these people and support them. And please, cancer is not contagious. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Doc?
I would just urge all those that are afflicted by cancer to seek help from appropriate places, and those of us that are not yet but carry the risk to get screened. In the case of cervical cancer, we have programs that are running everywhere. If you look at the government program, literally all facilities have some way of screening for cervical cancer in a very cheap and affordable way without the need for payments.
Okay.
I just want to, as I close, to say how communities or individuals can participate in supporting those affected by the disease. So, many times we would know someone who is fighting cancer, and we don't know what kind of support to give. Well, some of the things we can do is keep them in our prayers. Let's be mindful of the way we communicate to cancer patients. Let's be mindful of what we say. Let's be mindful of how we address these people. Let's offer help as much as we can, even if you don't have money to pay for their drugs, even if you don't have money to buy them food, buy them cheap things like bananas, fruits, and just go there to their beds and just say, "Mana, today I just want to be with bedside kwako lero." Not that you are talking about the cancer they have, but you just have a whole different story just to be there for them. I think for me that's one thing that I would recommend.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for coming through to the show today. So on today's program, we were looking at cancer awareness, and we commemorated World Cancer Awareness Day under the theme Closing the Gap on the 4th of February. And on behalf of the entire crew, my name is Mulangani Wenga. Don't forget to follow our Facebook page, that is the Don Bosco Vibes Youth Network, and on YouTube, our channel, that is the Don Bosco Youth Network Zambia, to get more information and understand more on the different topics that we discuss. On behalf of the entire crew, it's goodbye, stay blessed, and ending with a quote coming from Judith: remember to be neither too confiding nor too distrustful, and just to include, do everything with charity and kindness. Care for one another and care for that individual in the fight against cancer. Goodbye.